Hey, good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. It's great. Lots of familiar faces. I see a few people from the Dyads, the Dyad session that we did a few days ago. It's great. So, yeah, this is just an opportunity to connect and see what's happening in your practice. If there were questions that came up in that dyad process or ongoing, explorations happening, this is the place we can talk about that or, integration into life. So you can just click on the raise hand button or just unmute yourself as well. And before we dive in, I just want to mention, I think this is going to be the last check-in before Christmas. So for the next few weeks, we're not going to be doing this check-in on Tuesdays. So after Christmas, the first Tuesday after Christmas, we're going to resume again. So the perpetual sadhana cycle seems to be dissipating during this period. So, but we are going to do over the Christmas period, we're going to be doing right after Christmas our own sadhana as well, our own meditation practice. So in that period right after Christmas, we're launching the Samadhi Part 4 film after that as well. So there may be a kindling of interest in the perpetual sadhana, hopefully at that time. So, yeah. So Pierre, I'd like to hear from Pierre.
Hello, Dan.
Hello.
Hi. I've been really enjoying the nightly dyads,
Mhm.
and I had you've been a facilitator on. You pop in sometimes, and I remember
Yes.
last Wednesday, I went particularly deep in the dyad,
Mhm.
and I was in a I don't know what you call it, kind of a form of samadhi, very very deep, and where I just basically almost disappeared completely. And you were the facilitator, and you asked at a very opportune time a couple of inquiry questions.
Yes.
Exactly what they were, but I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it was very very intense. And what my question is, when you ask me that, I don't know what to reply. There
Hmm.
is there
Good.
is no answer. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I I can't even find. It's almost a ludicrous question in the sense that there's no someone that I can relate to say who is having this experience or whatever. Um, and they talk about a shift of identity in awakening. I and here's where I'm a bit confused. I can't say that I've had a shift in identity, but at that point
Mhm.
where I'm at, there's nothing else
Mm.
except for this huge space. I don't, for me, if I say awareness or consciousness, that's kind of more of a concept. Then for me, it's space. It's just wide open space, and that's about all there is.
Yeah.
In that sense, I could say that's who I am, but it's not like a personal I. So um, I can't really say anything. So
Yeah. So I have a question.
go ahead.
So is that space here in this moment right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I ask that question in that dyad space, um, it's mysterious. So it's good that your mind that looks for an answer as if I'm asking a question. You know that it's not on that level. You've dropped that clearly because when you're abiding as the space, there's a different energy to it. It's not a mind seeking for answers. It's not a, there's nothing conceptual that's going to provide the truth of who you are. So 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 what I always point towards is this ineffable something that happens where it's not the mind that is going to provide an answer, but there's something that happens when we recognize the spaciousness that's just here. So what I see happening for most people in this dyad process, it's like the mind starts to go still, the conceptual searching stops, and there's a change of the state. So whatever we call that, the spacious state, the samadhi state, but it seems to be something separate from the dualistic language state. It's like I'm in this state of spacious presence, and conceptual world is over here somewhere. It's gone quiet, and what I'm pointing to is the possibility that we can allow both at the same time. Somehow that mind, because there's still a division when we're in that space. There's still a witness and something being witnessed. There's still a divide there.
It's very subtle, yes.
Very subtle,
Yeah.
very subtle, yeah. But and we can plateau there for
Mhm.
a lifetime. People do in their meditation practices.
That's why I'm asking this
Yeah,
question, because this
yeah.
happened before.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it gets very subtle in that space. So we can, like you're in the perfect space. So that is the space where the alchemy happens. Where this noticing of any mind division that's happening will eventually come up to the surface to be seen there. So maybe there's, maybe we don't know always what that will be, but, some examples are, possibly, there's a slight preference for that state. Like when we're in that state, it's usually a greater sense of ease in that state. Yeah. And so what we want to explore is, the awareness of all states, is always present. The awareness that's here now in this moment, the awareness that's in, the most beautiful, deep samadhi state. It's the same. It's you. That's what I'm pointing at. So when I say, "Tell me who you are," who is the knower? Who's the one who doesn't come and go? These states are constantly coming and going, but who are you? The one, the true you that doesn't come and go, the knower of all those states, and can we allow, we don't need to go into the conceptual mind, but is it possible for that stillness that you've discovered to speak?
Mm.
Hmm.
I, yeah, I really get what you're saying. Um, and for sure, I know it conceptually, but even beyond conceptually, because I do experience it very often.
Hmm.
Um, but it just seems I hear about people um, having, say, Kensho awakening, whatever, and that it is um, obvious for them that there's a shift in identity.
Yeah.
For me, I would say it's not. It could be maybe more obvious. It just maybe it's I'm waiting for or waiting like a really strong energetic shift. It's
Hmm.
not conceptual. That's you know like something even I don't know more more of a proof or more of a knowing a deeper knowing. Even though at that time I have a very deep knowing, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to translate. into when I shift consciousness into the so-called separate self, it
Mhm.
doesn't seem to, um, I mean, it can. If you just asked me before, but because we're talking, so I'm in a different state. I'm not in the separate self
Mhm.
state. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, and there can be a a profound energetic shift for some people in Kensho, but other people I've seen there it's completely devoid of phenomena actually. So it doesn't necessarily incorporate fireworks or something dramatic that and it's actually from my own experience, it's watching people go through this process. It's actually better to not have a big energetic experience because the problem is, that all the energy is part of the world of phenomena. It's just an experience. It just comes and goes. And what can happen is we mistake that phenomena, that dramatic, beautiful state, whatever it is. Sometimes it's bliss. People will go into, incredible bliss states. But we can mistake that state for the truth of who we are. So the
I have bliss all the time. Like when I'm in that state, there's a lot. Even now, I'm having quite a bit of bliss. But
Yeah, yeah. So you're one of the people who have, you that energy is very perceivable for you. Some people
yeah,
don't have that. So
I'm
so
very kinesthetic. It's a
in
kinesthetic thing. It's I feel it in the body.
yeah. So the fact that you've had those blissful states, you've had that sense of ease in samadhi, it's the hardest thing to forget those past experiences. This is the really like this. I went on for years. I had really incredible merging experiences early on, and everything in my being told me, I got to get back there. I got to find a way to live in this permanently, 24/7, and it wasn't until I dropped those past experiences and dropped, the knowing mind, that the mind thinks it knows what samadhi is, or what our true nature is, because it only knows those past experiences. It only knows the past, but it doesn't, the mind, whatever the mind thinks it is, it's not that. So because what is revealed in Kensho is that knowing mind drops off. It's not doing its thing. It's not filtering in the same way. So the whatever we think it is, we have to enter into that don't know mind, and that's the space where the recognition of what doesn't come and go, our true nature, is just there. So it's yeah. So I get a sense that there's something in the mind that you're looking for something because of those experiences.
Well, when I shift like that, there's a no knowing mind. There's
Hmm.
completely there's not many thoughts. I don't know anything. That's why the
Yeah,
question, "Who are you?" seems a bit almost ludicrous.
yeah,
There's no
yeah,
one really. So what? So what? And I guess I think I go after the bliss because not because sure I love the bliss, but it also means to me that I'm onto something. So I said, oh, this is like I'm onto
mhm.
something. So it's not the bliss, but it's like
Yeah. It's going. The mind is dropping for sure.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So what would you say? What do you suggest at this point for me? Like just keep on doing dyads meditation. Of course, I'll keep on doing that. What
yeah.
what what would you suggest?
So the thing that I always suggest that I think is really the most powerful way to experience Kensho is to just put yourself into a container where you're putting the conditioned self into conditions of no escape. So I would say like a 3-day self-inquiry dyad intensive, or the 7-day perpetual sadhana. It really is just once you come to this point, it's just marinating in the beingness and just I amness, and when we activate the mind, there is an energetic component to this for sure.
Yeah,
So the longer we just stay in presence, in beingness, the conditioned self loses its energy and its power. So, my favorite teacher, Dogen, said, meditation is the dropping of mind and body. So eventually, if we put ourselves in those conditions, the mind and body will drop off. And when that happens, then what remains, or who remains? Who or
right.
what remains, and that's it. So that's a very particular process, and it takes, usually in my experience, like with these dyads, it takes a good at least 2 days, sometimes 2.5 days of continuous practice of just, and it's really, it's not, you're not doing anything in this. You're just being continuously present, continuously surrendering. And if you can just be continuously, that flip will happen.
That's great. That where can I do this 3 day? I can't really do 7 days, but a 3 day. Where can I do that?
Yeah, so if you, so we're going to be in the new year, we're going to be doing more of these 3 day intensives.
Mhm.
So here is good, but also like the Charles Berner community. There's a lot of people out there. There's a teacher named Murray. If you just type, I can share the info with you as well.
Thank you.
Murray and Lawrence are two amazing facilitators that are doing retreats, and they do the intensives. So and there's lots of others as well. So I can share those resources with you, but I would say, that container is out of anything, if you want to do it in a short period of time. But the truth is, like anyone, if you're determined and you really kind of get how the process works, you can do it. You can just take 3 days and just be continuously. Like, not activating the mind, like shutting out every distraction, just abiding in presence continuously, and that flip is likely to happen at some point.
Right. Thank you very much, Dan. This is really helpful, and thank you for all the everything that you offer, the dyads and daily meditations. It's really appreciated. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, Pierre.
Bye.
Yeah, Sveta.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Sveta.
First, I wanted to thank you for the opportunity. I'm on my fourth day of 7 day sadhana. And first, I spoke to you last Tuesday, and I was really chasing the state that probably Pierre is talking about because I could reach this state quite easily and stayed in the state for quite a long time.
Hmm.
But as I dropped meditation, the state was gone, so I became a chaser
Yeah.
in that way. And it was my first experience in diets. First 2 days were like, what am I doing here?
Hmm.
Then I entered nomad land,
Hmm.
nomad, nomad
Yeah.
land. So
Yeah.
it was just blank, and I reported that. And
Hmm.
yesterday, actually, it was very interesting that for me it was a very um, amazing experience to be a witness
Hmm.
because I could feel into the person. And once I even said that when I see you, I can see being. When I look at myself, I can see human, and it's very strange.
Hmm.
Um, so, and yesterday, I managed to do only one dyad, and I was sitting with it because before coming to the retreat, I told you I had recently some very small switches, like who is talking, who is walking, who is that person. And yesterday during diet, it was very obvious. And the more I'm speaking, the more I was speaking, the more I felt like I literally watching myself and this character speaking.
Mhm.
So there was very definite separation
Mhm.
from the character, I believe.
Mhm.
So this is completely different to the state that I was searching. Is it the different facets, or what is it? There is no bliss in that recognition. There is no merging into everything.
Yeah.
There is no oneness that I used to experience for several months. Now
Yeah.
it's something very different. What's the difference?
Yeah. So yeah, what you're describing, that separating out, so the first real stage in sadhana, like if you were experiencing merging and bliss, you probably found a way, the mind was going quieter, and you're having more direct experience. But when we do these dyads, and we're really doing the self-inquiry, we're coming to this witnessing position, and so there is initially this separating out, and so the Kensho, the awakening to our true nature, if we go all the way with this process, we wake up completely from the character, the script that we've been following our whole life, like waking up from a dream. And so we're out of life. It's like we realize actually the awareness we are has never been that character. It's always just been here, sort of watching the show. So that recognition is Kensho, and we keep going, we keep inquiring until we wake up as that awareness that's always here. But that's not the end. That awakening is just the beginning. Then we go back to life. Then it's like, okay, I'm still here. Life is still going on, right? So there's still, the nothing changes in terms of the phenomena of life, but now we can go back into life and start to explore, what we are as well. So the first step is to find out who I am. The who leads, there's no conceptual answer to who I am. It's this awakening from the conceptual mind, and I find that I'm awareness, and then it's now like, what is life? What is this experience? And that's when we start to go back, and we'll start to have more and more direct experiences of life, where the conditioned self is no longer operating just through language and memory and all of that, but we can start to experience life more and more directly. So in the self-inquiry world, they talk about having direct experiences, and these are samadhi experiences, or union experiences. So once I know once the filter is sort of dropped away, then the energy will just start to connect more and more, and life, on like on one end, it might be just experiencing the present moment more vividly, or there might be more energy, or you look at a tree or the grass, and it's not, you're not seeing it through the language, the mind that says tree or grass, has dropped away. So you're seeing it as if it's new. so that's kind of where this practice leads, is to these direct experiences, and when that filter really drops off, then it can be like a full samadhi experience. Then you become the tree. You become literally you become one with it, or with another person, and whatever's arising, whatever attention is on, there can be these merging experiences. So and as long as we're not chasing them, as long as we understand the that it's actually unhooking from that preference, and the I thought is actually what allows these experiences, then they just can come and go. And the more that I thought is not operating, the more we have these samadhi experiences. And there's a rewiring process that is part of that. So we, our energy, our whole mind-body structure wires differently over time, and that rewiring takes many, many years.
But it was what you're describing as feeling oneness and feeling as a tree, as everything that surrounds. That's what I used to experience, and there was bliss. And actually, the way I used to achieve it, it was, I don't know if you know this technique, like open monitor. Like you don't focus on one thing, you
Yeah.
focus on everything at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But what I experienced during diets, it is a slightly different thing. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't merging, it was watching myself from outside.
Yeah. 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 That's it. So that technique that you were using, how long did you do that technique for?
Before I started to easily enter the state, maybe a
Yeah.
couple of weeks.
Okay. And how long, and did it continue to work, or did it eventually?
It was working, but at some point I was pretty much constantly in this bliss, and I decided that I'm on top of the world. I gave up meditation and this technique and everything and just rolled down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the dyad work is a perfect bridge now, because yeah, those any technique that we're doing is always conditioned. It's something you learned. So you learn the technique, and then you do something. So that doer of the technique is always a part of the character. It's part of the mind doing something. So now, so those are beautiful stepping stones, and you've probably freed up a lot of energy. You know what that feeling of bliss is like now, which is great. So now you can start to explore, the awareness that's here. Watching that character that used to be doing the technique. Now, if you just rest as the awareness, just allowing everything to be as it is, that same bliss will start to become more and more present, but not by doing something. That's the thing. Like these practices, I could give people, practices it'll blow your head off. Like you'll pranayama practices and all these things, but it's temporary. Those are temporary experiences. It might be fun for a while, but it's no different than somebody going after like a drug experience, like chasing the next high. So by recognizing our true nature as awareness, and not getting hooked into that conditioned character, there's this bliss that comes, and it has no cause. It has no, there's nothing that we have to do for that, and it's here. It's like the dimension of our being that's always here. So this is what they in the yogic world they call it Sat Chit Ananda. It's the bliss that flows just from being itself. And so there's the beauty of it is there's nothing to do. There's no work. We don't have to do an hour of pranayama to generate that bliss. It's just abiding, recognizing who I am, my true nature, and when I'm not putting attention on the thoughts and sensations and going after something with preferences. The attention is just kind of here, open with being itself, and then that energy can flow.
And during dyad, if something like this opening happens, I feel like it's, when you're giving birth and go to labor, is it relevant to ask for facilitator to press the button for facilitator?
Like, there's a worry that something is going to happen, or is it, or I'm just
No,
asking,
probably to direct somehow. I don't know. Maybe open up a bit more, find right questions.
you could, yeah. Sometimes the facilitator might have a little pointer or something that might be helpful. Yeah, but not necessary. Like, whatever's going to unfold with this practice, it will unfold. If you you might have an expectation of something's going to happen, and the facilitator is there, but yeah, it's up to you. If you feel like an intuition to get a facilitator present, why not? Yeah, you could.
And one little suggestion from you. At the beginning of sadhana, you said that if you have any other tools, you should leave them alone because of the structure of sadhana. It's very tailored. So this my favorite practice of open monitor. Is it valid within the sadhana or I should leave it?
So, what my question is, if you were to do that practice, why would you do it? Like, what would your reason for doing it be?
To be very honest, to chase the same experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So in my experience, when we're doing the inquiry, we can really get caught in whenever I've seen things go off track for people in these retreats, it's usually when they're doing their own practices. They're usually trying to produce a state. They're chasing some blissful experience. So this doing the dyads, just doing a meditation where we're coming into kind of a choiceless awareness, it unlocks everything. It unlocks a lot of energy, and if we're using a technique, like a conditioned technique that we know is going to produce energy and a lot of experience, it can be too much too fast. It can just be, like we're already unlocking so much energy, and my experience with this is, it's like the way we've kind of structured the retreat is the two components of, you could say Shiva and Shakti. The Shiva is just the consciousness component, the just being component, and then the Shakti, the energy. It's like we want them to sort of go in balance. So if we go into a practice that we know is just going to unlock a lot of energy, it may become imbalanced. It may just so we can sort of get lost in the experiences and the phenomena and miss the awareness that is just here. So I would say, yeah, just if you
Yeah,
just
good. But if I would to use this tool during meditation, so instead of focusing on one thing, I defocus from everything.
Hmm.
Is it
Yeah.
exactly that?
If you yeah. Are you asking like so what exactly are you
If
asking?
instead of focusing on the object of meditation, to defocus from anything and absorb everything at the same time.
Yeah. So there's still a choosing in
Hmm.
that. Yeah. So um, yeah. So I would just say, like there's no right or wrong to any of this, but what we really eventually want to come to in our practice is really understand who's choosing.
Hmm.
Who's choosing anything. One practice or one technique, or and is it possible to just not choose, or just be choicelessly present, just allow everything to be as it is in that space. So if we drop the chooser, drop the techniques, drop the doing, who remains in just that awareness that's present, and
So the only attitude, it is what it is, will be left.
yeah, we can't say what's left, but you can directly experience that. So, yeah, I can't say what's left
Okay.
because I can only point to it because, any label I give it is not it. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so yeah, but so if there's an intention to come into this kind of wide panoramic view, there's still a choosing there. So I think, like I'm sure that would lead to a beautiful experience, but it'll be temporary. So
Mhm.
if we can drop the chooser, really choosing, not choosing. I mean, it's all the mind, the mind. If even if we can choose to not choose, which is also a choice, so all of that is just the mind, so if we can just see, just keep watching, who is that, what is that, it's this little pattern of choosing and not choosing, but who are you that's aware of that? And just keep coming back to the awareness that's just here.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Christian.
Stan. 2 weeks ago, I mentioned to you last week, I had about a 4.5 day experience, whether Kensho Satori or whatever, that I hadn't experienced in doing this work for about 8 years, that long. Then on the 23rd in the morning, everything came back with a vengeance. Last Tuesday, you helped me navigate that. That's part of the practice, and that was extremely helpful. Um, so I now find myself in different stages throughout the day where I'm waking up early and I'm in a complete state of, forget seeker, it's like desperate seeker. And I'm like striving to just go to the seeker who the week before was just an appearance in the realm of perception.
Yeah.
And then I get to the place where I'm like, okay, I'm not the desperate seeker, I'm just the seeker. I'm like, yes, it's an upgrade. And then certain little triggers during the day, whether my kids, work, or just like literally walking through the street, will bring me right back down a level of sensitivity that I did not experience before. Now, you said something helpful to Sveta earlier, that the rewiring takes 2 years. And I feel that I am doing a rewiring, a nervous system, because obviously the body is going to lag, and I can do that, but I feel like I don't have access to samadhi. And I know that's ridiculous because it's just an instantaneous thing. and that 4.5 day thing was not like PR, it was not fireworks. It was so non-phenomenal that it was so beautiful. I felt for 4 days I was walking around with a flame in my chest of peace. And as things were coming up, the flame was just burning everything out, but it was non-phenomenal. So I was like, oh my God. Of course, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. So my question to you, as I'm toggling between this, is this just par for the course? I tried to get on a few dyads last night. I wasn't able to. I just tried at the 6:20 Eastern time. That's my second question. My second question being, is there a better time? And what I was doing in the meantime, I was doing self-inquiry by myself, kind of just, it wasn't as effective, but when I'm by myself, and I know that's Ramana Maharshi's thing, just by yourself. Is that a good thing to do? To just like close my eyes and just keep going back and back and back? And sometimes I start journaling it. Do you have any advice with that?
For solo self-inquiry. Yeah. So the way, there's a few things there. What you're describing, I think I talked a little bit about it last time, but so after a Kensho experience, especially when it's to be in that state for a few days that's a very deep Kensho. Like some people will get just, a few minutes of it. So to be in that state, there's a profound shift deep within our being when that happens. And so what you're describing, it sounds like you're waking up early. Something wakes you up, and you described like a desperate seeker experience. So this is what happens through the sleep cycle. Post Kensho, the unconscious is usually we just get glimpses of the unconscious. Little fragments of dreams and little things we can't barely remember, but that desperation that people describe different experiences depending on the makeup of whatever's in the unconscious, but to feel that fully is amazing because that usually like that's always been there. That desperation has always been there, but it's just been completely unconscious. So now it's being unveiled. So to me, that sensitivity it is when it happens quickly and kind of dramatically, it's a lot. And before it is a rewiring process, so it's going to take time, and it's not it's not comfortable, not easy. But if we see the mechanism of what's happening here, how the like touching our true nature has initiated this opening and this revealing of all that is not you, all that is false. So all we can do is keep inquiring, into the, who am I? Even when, that if that desperate seeker is there, it's a perfect time for self-inquiry.
Yeah.
Like who am I that is just
aware?
I
have no access to that though. Not. Desperate. Then I've been doing this for 8 years. I felt for the first 2 days after that, like I was 10 years behind. Like I wish I never had the Kensho.
Yeah.
Like I was losing my mind.
Yeah. So there may be a sort of intermediary practice that might be helpful, because that what's coming up, like these are thoughts that are coming up.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't have Kensho. Yeah, whatever it is. So everything that's coming up when that contraction, there's a contracted state that's coming up. So when we feel that body contraction, that's maybe a time to explore the thoughts themselves, to bring the thoughts into greater clarity, and question those beliefs, So
Yeah, I
like
had zero access.
zero access. So
I seriously felt like I was going crazy. And I don't. What helped me, Dan, was what you told me last week, which was just, this is part of that, like the rubber band and stuff like that. I just have to wait this out and try and feel. And sometimes I couldn't feel and I couldn't think, and
yeah, I've been through, that, like in my own journey, there's been times where, I described it like being on the cross. For me, it's like, all I could do is just be on the cross.
right. That helps. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just wait it out. Okay.
yeah, and or another image that literally, this image came to me when I was going through that part of my journey, was the image of Christ with the heart on fire, and it's, yeah, and it's like there's a burning that is happening, and so there's literally nothing that the little I can do in that, like it's literally like, it's a surrender, a true surrender, where I can't give you any pointer, or anything that I would tell you to do. Yeah, yeah,
I just kept saying, let's sit in the fire and let this burn. But it was,
yeah.
3 days of hell. You said the mechanism is that it's touching our true nature, is touching everything that isn't me. Is that what's bringing that up?
Yeah, like that. It seems to be the case that, when we get a direct experience of who we are, it's usually followed by some sort of, you could say, dark night of the soul, or it's like there, if there's a lot of energy, people describe, a Kundalini sort of experience, where the it's like the energy, the spirit is trying to reconfigure. It's trying to move you in a way that, there's an intelligence to it, but it's like a completely foreign language. It's like something new. It's like suddenly we've found ourselves in a river with a current that's going in a different direction than we're used to, and it takes time to acclimatize to that. Yeah.
Okay. And last question: the self-inquiry solo.
Yeah.
Is journaling okay? I mean, because sometimes it's a little easier for me. Or do you feel just asking
Sure.
old
Yeah.
school Maharshi?
I think, like, trusting your inner guidance around that. I went through periods where it seemed like, what was really alive for me was, looking like I did psychotherapy, I did art therapy, all sorts of different things to start to see the unconscious, to transmute it, like, turn it into art, rather than just having it be something presenting itself, but actually, explore it. Creating music. I used music as a way. I would get, feelings coming up, and I would literally kind of channel them into music, and sometimes we get intuitions when that energy is starting to really come alive. There may be things that you're sort of directed to, or they come alive for you to create a bridge between the inner and the outer world.
Thank you very much. This is so helpful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your journey. Yeah, and I think the more you know, like for me, the films that I create, all of that, it came out of this kind of experience that you're having right now. You know, it's like the energy that you know, when the energy is just sort of sitting there, you know, and the conditioned self is just burning. You know, it is hell, as you described, you know, for that character. But once that energy really starts to move, you know, we just keep following that life energy, that bliss, you know, wherever it wants to go. And once it starts moving, you know, our whole self structure goes along with it, and starts to change. And you know, whatever that character is that was in hell, you know, that old wiring literally starts to get quieter and quieter, and what's presenting itself is really life itself, more and more. Yeah, thank you. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah, thanks again for holding this space and for this interaction. You've said a few things that just kind of as confirmation when just speaking to Christian. So the coming alive is definitely felt, coming alive in everything. As you said with music, for me, it's yoga, it's my body. So everything feels like it's coming alive. When I'm teaching, it's not the character anymore. It's not the small self, not even speaking as I teach. It's it has its own energy, as you say. And yeah, you just mentioned another thing, maybe a couple of years to reach that state or energy. And I've been practicing yoga for 25 years and exploring other movements since I was a child, like spinning, and you know, every child spins and that kind of thing. So for me, I took up this 1 hour meditation, sometimes 2 hours a day, sometimes 3, since last November 1st. So just within the year, I feel like the content that we create, those surface energies or movement or content that is just kind of floating at the edge of our system, is it's not really, it's fizzling. Do you know what I mean? Like in every moment. So it is abiding in presence always, because the movement that we're drawing our attention to this content that was floating, say, at the edge of our system, is really been the main experience. But once the deeper levels, the content starts to just kind of fade or blend, whatever, I think, fade or dissipate or transmute or transform. It's the deeper content that doesn't need, so all these little stories and random thoughts on the surface edge is now it becomes the main experience, is now the silence, the stillness, the clarity, the peace. And that is the state of being, for me, which is all inclusive, all abiding in presence is how you say it. Just the direct experience is now just living this experience, this life experience is now direct, as opposed to reactive to the what I call like surface. So everything floating at the top or edge of our system just seems to be not the main life experience anymore, but we can live more from the main life experience of the self with a capital S, if you wish. And the small self is still there, but the main experience now is really, this is just an observation. Sorry, I don't have a question. This is an observation. And so from this space, from this energy is there's like, there's no, I guess there's no words for it. It's just the main experience now.
Yeah.
So
Just being,
yeah,
it's
just pure being
yeah.
at that state. And then I'm not even really moving or acting in any, it almost becomes like so present that you don't, what am I trying to say? You don't, I wouldn't say it's like a hamster wheel, not a hamster wheel or on autopilot, but it just feels like, I don't know. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
So the hamster wheel, are you like the mind? You're like you're.
Not the mind, but just this being, like it's just doing its thing, but
I
I'm
see.
not even thinking. So it's kind of like
Ah,
it feels like autopilot.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. So I think what you're describing is what they call Wu Wei in Zen. It's like the doing, not doing. So it's like the doing is happening, but
Mhm.
there's not really a sense of a doer, or
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes.
yeah, and this is the mystery of all of this. Like you were talking about, something else showing up when you teach yoga as well. Like it's not the little Lisa speaking anymore. So there's speaking is happening, but
Yeah.
there's it's like, where is it coming from? It's like speaking without a speaker, So it's like the stillness is
Hmm.
speaking, or the emptiness is moving, or in Zen they say the emptiness is dancing, and to me this is the path, this is the mystery. It's incredible how when if I get the little self out of the way,
Yeah.
then somehow, and it's just the I thought. The I thought is the one that takes credit for it, the one that has preference of one thing over another. It's trying to know, it's trying to,
Mhm.
it's seeking something in the experience. So when that I thought drops away,
Yeah.
it's not like life stops. It's like life fires up. It keeps
Yes.
going.
Yeah.
Everything, and it's neat to watch the character,
Mhm.
doing its thing. And it is like it's on autopilot. It knows how to make dinner. It knows how to do all the
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, I just find that it's this old content based on stories and trying to figure things out. The mind is a tool to navigate through this, but you don't really need the mind. So that's all you need it for, maybe like just to navigate. But the content that we're creating, it's creating is it's content that's not created by the mind. It's only content that can be created through pure presence, abiding in presence, I think.
Mhm.
And so, um, and I feel like I'm maintaining, like not that I have to maintain anything. I'm just saying it's just more of that. That's the main content. That's the main experience. So that's just an observation. That's just 1 year of this a commitment to being here on this platform. And I really am grateful for everyone who shows up because it's because of this. It's yeah, and I even jumped on the dyad the other night for the first time, and I'm going to try and jump on more often because it's such a beautiful experience. But I wanted to just ask you a silly question, one more question, or this is the question. It almost kind of sometimes feels like therapy. Like, I don't know, like, if people want to talk about their day-to-day things, and that's perfectly fine. But I don't know if I don't know. I got a sense it's almost like a little
Yeah.
bit of therapy
Yeah,
sometimes.
it can go in that direction, especially if people are doing a lot of dyads and they fall into a kind of routine with it, you know. So it instead of if so the to me the most important component is to intend to directly experience your true nature in it, and it really works for that. So if people are doing that, then it goes beyond the just the psychological, like there is a beautiful kind of therapeutic benefit to just being with
Yeah.
someone and speaking and being heard, all of that, and that clearing process of the mind just on its own is beneficial. Yeah, you're right. Like it can go that way, and I know it does. Uh, People can kind of get caught in loops with it, where it just becomes like an endless sort of clearing process, which is why like the real benefit of it is to do it in a pressure cooker container where you're doing in morning to night in for 3 days, where the ego will eventually give way. There is that dropping off. So if we're just doing a little bit in the evenings, it can be great for clearing, and it's sometimes deeper unconscious patterns can come to the surface. It can be surprising what kind of clearings can be had in it. But I think the thing that makes it powerful is like a true, genuine intention to know yourself, and when we have that, that's what is different between the psychology world is filled with dyads. They do all kinds of dyad stuff,
Yeah.
and it fixes the character. It makes the character more functional, more adaptable to its world and all of that. But the beauty of this is waking up from that character entirely
Right.
as
Okay.
well. So there, yeah. So if you're seeing that, it's probably happening. It's probably it can be a bit of that, but yeah, if we take that true intention into it, and I try to inject that and remind people, that's the kind of the job of the facilitator, is to stir the pot as well, to go in and point beyond the mind and its endless whatever it's doing. Yeah.
Yeah, because people get caught in a loop, and then they forget about the true intention. I think because they get stuck there.
Yeah.
That's the moving content. That's always kind of that's on their surface that gets their attention only. But if
Yeah.
they just kind of go, yeah. But it happens to the best of us. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. We'll see you in the dyads, everyone, and namaste. Thanks again for
Yeah.
everything.
Thanks, Lisa.
Have a great
Namaste.
day.
You too. Hi, Monique. Hi, Monique. Oh, you can unmute there.
And what's the other one?
Oh, no, you're muted again.
There it is.
There you go.
Okay. I'm back to what I've been talking about. Oh, hope you won't get mad at me. Um, First, I want to say about you. When I was talking about Jesus and the trilogy, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, like the Trinity, and you asked me, you said, "What is it that you need?" There's something that you need to know, need to understand with that, because I keep bringing it back. And Jesus told me, he said, I don't need to defend him. Unconsciously, I was trying to defend him because I was brought up, like you said, Catholic. My uncle and was a priest, and his sister was a nun since she was 18 years old until she died, and the other one was a Jesuit, all in the same family. So, and I thought the whole world was Catholic. So for me, like Jesus was, I don't know. And I was trying to defend like A Course of Moral Gold because it came to me. But what I want to say right now is go back to that Vedanta, the Vedas, with those the Krishna, Vishnu, and the creation and the destruction. Okay, just wait a minute. Don't give up on me. Okay, the experience I have, I'm glad you talk about the dyad, because the reason why I like to do dyad so much is almost every time, I would say every time I come into the dyad, I start to do the dyad, I go down into my center. It's just like, woof, it's just like automatic. I cannot do it. It's because I cannot get out. I'm here for 40 minutes and I cannot move. So I just give myself to it for 40 minutes, and I cannot I'm trying to do it out of the dyad, and I cannot sit down for 2 minutes. I got to get up and do something. But what I want to say is when I have the experience of the prison moment, it's, okay, let me see. There's no time and space. There's just, I am right here. This is me. I'm becoming me, what I have always been, what I will always be. That cannot be changed. And I'm trying to understand that with the Vedanta about Krishna and Vishnu and all those gods, and Vishnu has 10 gods and like 3 heads and like 8 arms and stuff like that. I was trying to understand, because when I have the experience of the present moment, there's no creation and destruction there. There's nothing. There's just peace.
Yeah.
That's how there is.
Yeah.
So I asked, and what came was like the Vedas, the Vedanta, it's a manifestation. Those gods is a manifestation. It's maybe a very, very, very high consciousness manifestation, because maybe 10,000 years ago, then they were so close to them, to their own truth, that they could experience that and they could create that and they could, manifest that. Maybe now we are so far away from who we are, then it's different. And I think that's why I relayed the Trinity with Jesus, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, that it needs to be teach with words. Like the teaching is not for God himself or the true self or the higher self or the consciousness or awareness. The teaching is not for that. They know who they are. The teaching is for the one who is coming to that which is not real. And that's what is the paradox. But this is just what I wanted to say, that hearing that it was a manifestation then, like the gods, because they talk about Brahma and then Vishnu and Krishna, and then they say Brahman, which is the God. And that makes so much sense to me. Brahman encompasses everything. It's all included. The past, the future, everything is included, the good, the bad. But manifestation is Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I want to say.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So I love when you got still here, and like you in the peace and the quiet, the stillness, there's yeah, out of that, it's like the Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, that all of that is born out of Brahman, or
Yes,
out of stillness, out of just pure consciousness that is here. So yeah, so you're right. It is just manifestation. It's literally, it's like a thought. A thought is born. It hangs around for a little while, and then it dies again. And that's the world. That's the dream. That's all of it. So these are just thoughts that are born, and the less distorted they are, the more the closer they are to the source, to Brahman. Yeah, the more pure they are. So
yes,
they're
exactly.
yeah, more pure manifestations, and the more distorted, or you could say, the thought gets, the farther away from that purity. Yeah, so I think those are maybe some of the most original thoughts, that came into being, that they actually represent the mechanism itself, of thinking, something coming into being, something being manifested, and then it hangs around, and then and then it dissolves again. Yeah.
They were focused also on energy, like feminine and masculine, because every god has a feminine as a wife, or they were focused on that. The other thing that I wanted to say is when you use the word equanimity a lot in your teaching, and like I said before, I didn't know equanimity was a word because I'm French. I didn't know what it means. I heard equality instead than equanimity. And when everything is equal, for sure, equanimity is there. But I saw those 10,000 years ago in Buddha, which is 3,000 years ago or four, and Jesus 2,000 years ago. For me, the way I understand it, the way I see it, it's all the same. Like this, not one higher than the other. I know, like the manifestation when you're closest to the source is a lot more spiritual, a lot more loving or pure. And the one with Jesus, or maybe, or this time, the time we are right now is a lot less like having Hitler, like killing millions of people. But when I look at it, it's it's all the same. It doesn't matter one to the other. There's no difference.
Yeah.
Does
I
does it make?
Yeah, yeah. When we drop the conceptual mind, and we're just here directly, it's only the mind that creates, its language creates these labels, So yeah, whether it doesn't matter, all of these beings are pointing to presence, to oneness, to this oneness that is here, the direct experience of oneness. So, so it's not like Jesus had a different oneness than the Buddha. It's all oneness. It's one thing. So yeah, so that's it. It's the mind just divides. All it does, through history, the mind's dividing. All these religions, all these different perspectives. It's all language, but if we trace it back, it's all tracing back to these individuals who've had direct experience of oneness, and they try to express it, and
I know.
people fight and kill each other over their versions of it. So it's ridiculous. This is egoic consciousness is just constantly dividing, and So yeah, our sadhana is to just, recognize that tendency in ourself, that egoic consciousness, and to just be here. And if we are, then, if we call it Brahman or we call it Christ, it's just this. It's just this presence. Yeah.
Thank you. I really see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way I see it is become so simple,
Mm-hmm.
like the more and more and more simple.
Yeah.
And also, there's just one other thing that I wanted to say is that bicycle trip that I did, that I was looking for myself. And I told you about that experience that I had.
Mm-hmm.
The energy came in. I was trying, like I was racing against myself on the bike because I was by myself. And I was going downhill and I was trying to hit 60 miles an hour because I had bags and it was heavy and it was a big hill. So, and I was going like 57, 58, and I was looking at my speedometer or something, and a big truck came in, and it was empty in the middle, like between the wheels. And I guess he was coming so fast down that I could not stop, and I don't know if he saw me or not, but I felt the suction going under the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And when I felt that, I went, that's it. That was it. No emotion, no feeling, no, oh my God, what do I do? It was like nothing. Just I was going to die, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when that energy came in and hold me there. And the
Mm-hmm.
funniest thing is what I remember is it put me down so slow, back down on the ground. It just like taking a, the truck was there. What I was going to die was nothing. What I remember was just, I found it was so funny because I thought it was going to be put back there the way I was picked it up so fast.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's mysterious. I've had experiences that I can't explain where it's almost like a spiritual intervention where something happened and then it's almost like a reset happened in my life as well. And yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard other stories of this as well, and makes you really feel like, this world that we're in it's not what we think it is. Things can happen that are outside the norm, and yeah, I've had experiences where I thought that this was it, I'm dead, and I had a right behind the building here, I had when I have solar panels up on the hill, and I was digging the trench up the hill. Somebody dislodged a huge boulder at the top of the hill, and it ran, and it smashed me right in the face. And like I did a flip. It was like in the movie The Matrix. I did a flip back, and I felt the face get smashed. But in that moment, something happened, and it was like a reset. And I let go. I just completely surrendered. I thought, okay, this is how I go out. And then I was okay. I have like just a little cut on my face, and it was like a reset. And I can't explain that. I had the experience of that happening. So yeah, so I think, life, this whole human experience, to me, it's very mysterious. There are things that, yeah, we just can't explain.
Yeah, it is. It's the whole trip on my bicycle was like that. Every day it was like that. I just mentioned that, and that's why I never talked about it because it didn't make any sense. And that's why but it's coming back into my mind, and it's coming back to tell me, like to show me the present moment, to remember how I was because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the only reason. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
won't talk about the Vedanta anymore.
Thank you. No, that
I
was
promise.
beautiful. It was a beautiful insight, and I like the Brahman, coming back to Brahman. That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Monique. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care. Yeah. Yeah, I think we have a little time. If Victoria, are you there? Oh, you're upside down.
Uh-oh, oops. Well, you guys all look upside down to me.
That's funny.
Well, yeah, for me, like I've just gone through tremendous healing. The dyads have been really challenging, but it's really worth it. And so, like for a long time, I was in the perpetual sadhana, and then for a long time, I wasn't even able to like come to any of the dyads or the meditations or anything, and like barely made it today. But yeah, just really grateful.
Awesome. Yeah,
And
good.
oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
With regards to like what is left or like choosing and not choosing, and then also what Monique was also talking about the Brahman. That's my experience of what is left right now is non-duality. Because like just realized that like, well, like if there's I am, then there's I am not. And then like, there is like the Buddhist practice of like neti-neti, which is just, pointing to everything and saying, I am not that, I am not that. And then there's the other Buddhist practice of pointing to everything and saying, I am that, I am that.
Yeah.
And then like, what is the self? Like what remains is myself. But like you have to know what is not yourself to know what is yourself. Kind of like you have to know what is death to know what is life, and what is phenomena to know what is just pure consciousness. So that's just where I'm at.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love, it is to the mind such a paradox where, we see the world and we can say, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that. And yet, the opposite is true as well. In the Samadhi state, it's like I am not too as well. I'm everything. I can be one with everything. And yeah, and that is the non-dual state. That's it. It's to the mind. When we drop our concept, we think it has to be this or that. We drop that conceptual mind, and then it's like in the Heart Sutra, the Buddha says form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness is exactly form. So yeah, I am it and I'm not it. It's like it's something, it's nothing. All these dualities drop away, and what remains is just that direct, ineffable experience that we can't speak. We can only experience it. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I'm happy that it's been a benefit. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. It's beautiful to connect today. And yeah, so we'll be back after Christmas. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you then. I think our plan is to do our own practice during that period as well. So if you're in the newsletter, we'll send out details of what exactly is happening during that time. So yeah, thanks everyone.